the people who are working on stuff, they believe in the same things you do, and they want to do the right thing. But they're not all knowing. You may have insights, and you probably do have insights and ideas they don't have. So help us out, share. You can take your shawl and do with it what you want.
Keep it simple plan. Okay, Zach's next, then Hank, and then Anna. And we'll get on this other one next episode. Go ahead.
So LA City Hall, despite their problems, has a pretty slick city clerk system where you can easily find committee meetings and subcommittee meetings and board meetings and all that. What I'm not finding in the Metro system is a very easy way to find any agenda item as it goes through the committee process. I guess it's not my question, but sort of a half request is that can there be something done? You guys started the blog, the source, which is great, and said, well, because it's hard for reporters to cover it, but it's because you opened up the subcommittee PDF, you can't open the documents, supporting documents that follow anything. If you set up a meeting with your media people, it takes at least a day to get something on the record. It's a very slow process, and that's why you're not covering this all.
I'll look at it. I know we're going to change the agendas in July. We're going to put it in order rather than the way they're done now. If you look at it now, it kind of, I can't tell you how we do it now, but we're going to change it. But that doesn't answer your question about access on the internet. At risk of, send me an email, leahy@metro.net, with your suggestion. Identify the problem and tell me what you want to communicate, and I'll get to the right people and we'll try to get something done. leahy@metro.net.
Thank you.
I'm not giving you my home phone.
Just a note for any other speakers, please stand so others throughout. You don't need to put the camera on me, but please stand so everyone else in the room can hear you, because it's kind of a busy place and sound reverberates. So go ahead, Hank.
Yeah, about the gating. What is the status of that? When we see what direction are we going? Are we going to station agents? Are we going to the sort of unattended? You just walk through gates. What's going to happen? More gates, less gates?
We have a tap card system which is in place that was designed about 10 years ago or longer, and it hasn't achieved its objective.
Not bus driver sensitive language.
And so what we are doing is trying to figure out how can we take advantage of the investment to try to achieve those objectives, and to do so in a way which is sensible to passengers and operators. Not as easy as it sounds. And to do so in a way which is thrifty and economic is really the problem with the stations. If we staff all the stations, that costs an awful lot of money. We're already cutting back on employees. So we thought about doing that, but it becomes really expensive. So what we're currently working on is something like this, that we will, upon exit, for folks exiting, we will require that they tap the card, which you're supposed to do now. Tap the card, and there'll be a live or visual signal of some kind, so that an officer will see that tap card was not good. The person went through the turnstile without tapping. They will then intercept that person and find out what they paid their fare. The purpose of that is to allow us to identify people who may not have paid, to either instruct them in how the gates will work, or if they didn't pay a fare, to cite them. Now, in point of fact, I think about 98% are paying, but the system needs to be enhanced in how it's going to work. So I think you'll begin to see some improvements by the end of the year. So we're trying to make it work in the context of what exists today.
Okay, Anna's next, then we're going to go on this side of the room.
I have a bike question. Most people who care about their bikes won't leave them in a transit stop because there's a good chance they'll get stolen. We can agree on that. But what about this? I heard a rumor that there was talk about making the last car on the train like a baggage car. Like bike people would be directed to go in there. Is that ever going to happen?
We haven't discussed that, but we just had an episode on a gold line train where I don't know how many, a whole bunch of bikers got on it. It was so crowded that the non-bikers couldn't get on the train. A lot of bikers out there trying to use the service. We took a bunch of seats out, We took a bunch of seats out of some of the cars. We did that for the bikers. In all fairness, you have to acknowledge that disadvantages those who are ambulatory, but we did it to make it fit. We are not contemplating taking all the seats out of the last car. We're not contemplating a baggage car.
Well, and also, where the seats were taken out, if the Metro would put a horizontal rail and straps, then little people like me could hang on. Right now, we get thrown around, you know, when the transit's going.
We'll look at that.
Okay, Alex?
Slightly different topic, but USC has one of the best music schools in the world, as good as Juilliard or better. But if you go down and play in a subway station, unlike New York, you'll have some angry-looking police in about 30 seconds threatening you to get out and get fined. Is there some way we can get it okay for our good USC students, Colburn students, to play in the wonderful subway station? It sounds good and it gets people down there.
Only the SC students?
Well,
Only
I went to USC as a music student. And Colburn, that would work, yeah. Or Colburn.
You know, I know we're doing that. Frankly, I haven't given it any thought.
I mean, it's a reason to go downstairs and it'd be kind of fun. They have a thing called Muni, Music Under New York. Maybe we can set up EULA.
I haven't thought about it. So, you know, I agree with you. I've ridden trains in New York quite a lot. You're right. Sometimes it's kind of nice when there's some guy down there playing blues or something like that. So I don't know, but I'll think about it. That's a fair question.
Okay. Next, Paul Dyson.
Good evening, Art. Thanks for coming. Great to see you.
Likewise.
City of Burbank. Oh, Burbank Airport, actually. Let's just talk about Burbank Airport. Closest, or second, whoever you believe, second closest airport to any rail station anywhere in the country. We're just about to spend $140 million on a new transit center to link air, bus, and rail. It goes to City Council next month. I'm sure we got the votes. We need service. We need more Metrolink service and transit service to that new transit center. And particularly, we would like to see the Orange Line extended to Burbank Airport and 7-day-a-week Metrolink service.
Fair enough. Have you had John Fenton here yet?
Yeah. He was here last month.
Well, as you know, John,
But he was only here for 4 weeks at that point. He'd already turned off all
John's
the...
a good guy, and he's very interested in this stuff. So I think that I think we're going to see more creativity out of Metrolink than we have for years. By the way, SC is playing Minnesota in September. So my wife and I are taking the game from here. So we'll have SC banners on the train all the way across the country, all the way through Nebraska.
Ken Rubin has arranged the Amtrak signs outside to say SC. Who's next? Larry Mono first, and then...
I got about 5 more minutes.
Yes. I was reading recently in San Francisco where they're doing some rail projects that even though they're in the study phase right now, they're actually getting the electrical stuff, under the DWP stuff, moved out of the way so that when they actually start construction, there isn't delays. And I know that one of the things with the Expo line is the delays of getting the DWP and some of the cable stuff. Is there any opportunity that MTA would be able to look at that for the future projects that are in development now to try to get those lines out of the way?
A little while ago I mentioned that we need better integration, better program management. It was that sort of stuff I was thinking about.
Okay.
We should do a lot of that work much earlier in the project life than we have in the past.
Nate and Gerard.
David Lazarus in the LA Times wrote some excellent articles, a great critique of the public transit in Los Angeles. And one thing he said which really stuck out was that in LA, the middle class, the discretionary riders really don't take the bus very often. I think there are a lot of reasons for it, but compare that to other cities where just about everybody gets on the bus and trains. In LA, it's a very small portion, usually, you know, the unemployed, working people. The middle class seems to avoid public transit. And I'm wondering, what can we do really to attract these riders? And I'm thinking, why don't we have better express service, not just rapid service, but point-to-point express service, like the airport flyer that goes from Van Nuys or Union Station to LAX, which is wonderful, brings in a lot of middle-class people. These shuttles that go to the Hollywood Bowl, this is the only time that middle-class people get on the buses. Maybe coordinate the when people get off the red line at Universal Station and they want to take a bus, right? When they want to take a bus, they have to wait 20 minutes. They don't even coordinate the schedules of the buses leaving from the red line.